Okay, welcome back everybody to Lost Belt 6. When last we left off, we ended off Part 1, Act 1, whatever you want to call it. And we are going to start with the Act 2 intro. So let's get started.
Extra, extra! Extra from the deck! Da Vinci's Typhone is back! Thanks, Marine. Let Typhone rest up in her cage until we're done writing our response. Scans for hazardous substances and contaminants are clear. It's a report from Da Vinci. Director Music, Holmes, if you would.
Very well, let's take a look. I see. Oh, fascinating. Heads of the fairy clans, calamities, a mysterious fairy horse who goes by Red Rabbit. Yes, this report has proven to be yet another scintillating array of tidbits. Care to read it yourself, Gordolf?
Yes, of course. I'm Caldia's director after all. It's my job to stay abreast of all our latest developments. So if you'll all pipe down, Captain, Marines, and Potter-Fu, I'll read it out loud so you can follow along. All right. To start off, let's go over what we know about Fairy Britain thus far. Fairy Britain, aka the Sixth Lost Belt, is a dangerous place where no electronic devices can function. Gouda, Caldia's resident master and special investigations officer, his exclusive servant, Mashkidi-Alite, our technical advisor, Leonardo da Vinci, and Tristan, a servant who was summoned out of nowhere, all set foot on Britain together. However, upon returning the Fey Domain entering the Fey Domain known as the Nameless Woods, they forgot their own names and memories and ended up separated. Gouda woke in the village of Cornwall, where he made contact with a local fairy, Artoria Castor, who had come to aid Caldia in our mission. Thanks to her and Tristan, Gouda escaped from the Nameless Woods, where he then met another collaborator by the name of Oberon the Fairy King, and began his investigation in earnest. After reuniting with Da Vinci, Gouda began gathering information on Fairy Britain with a focus on anything that might lead him to Mashkidi-Alite. This Lost Belt's king is Morgan, a fairy who has been ruling for the past 2,000 years. The fairies who populate it are divided into 6 clans, and they also control the human population. There are creatures known as Moor who are the fairies' natural predators. There are also Tamlin, fairy knights who possess the names of heroic spirits from proper human history. There are calamities that occur every 100 years and great calamities that occur every 1,000. And there is a figure called the Child of Prophecy who is said to be the one who will defeat Morgan. After undertaking a pilgrimage to ring 6 spells kept by each heads of the 6 clans, she will then go on to defeat Morgan and become the true King of Britain. Naturally, as you can imagine, Gouda would never let her do something like that on her own. So he proposed a partnership with Artoria Castor without even waiting for my orders. So now we are obliged to lend the Child of Prophecy our full support in order to defeat our common enemy, Morgan. In the time since our last report, Gouda's team met up with Aurora, the head of the Wind Clan, had a run-in with Tamlin Gawain at a ranch for keeping humans, fought off Tamlin Tristan at a auction house, where they also rescued Senji Muramasa, a servant disciple of the Foreign God, met with Murian, the head of the Wing Clan, encountered Koyanskaya in yet another new outfit. and had another local fairy by the name of Gareth and a mysterious fey horse called Red Rabbit join their team. After a series of adventures, including a battle against the Drakei in the River of Tears, Gouda's team finally arrived in the city of Norwich. There, who should they encounter but Mash Kitty Aelite, who the local fairies believe to be the Child of Prophecy. No matter how many times I reread this part, it still doesn't make any sense to me. How did Kitty Aelite come to be known as the Child of Prophecy? And what in the world is a Habenyan? If only this report could respond to questions. But since it can't, we'll just have to use our imaginations to fill in the gaps. I'm guessing Kitty Aelite had her own share of troubles after escaping the Nameless Woods. At one point, she probably ended up saving some people, fairies, up in the northern part of Britain, which probably led them to regard her as a hero. At any rate, the report says that Gouda's team made contact with the Cryptor Peperoncino, who had been laying low in Norwich. After numerous mishaps, the Calamity of Norwich finally appeared. Fortunately, with Caldia's help, the Child of Prophecy was able to defeat this calamity. However, shortly after Mash Kitty Aelite had finally been reunited with Gouda, she was whisked away to parts unknown by a mysterious phenomenon, separating her from Gouda once again. But there is no time to grieve this unfortunate turn of events. I am certain Gouda would agree. For you see, in a surprising turn of events, he and Artoria were invited to Camelot, home of King Arthur in proper human history, and location of the evil castle in Fairy Britain, by High Queen Morgan herself. The very Morgan who possesses Rongominiad, a powerful spell that could be used in the fight against the foreign god, and one of our main objectives in coming to this lost belt in the first place. Now Gouda, Da Vinci, Artoria, Gareth, Muramasa, and Habenyan have accepted Morgan's invitation and are now setting out for Camelot first thing tomorrow. And that is all she wrote. Now, do you all feel sufficiently caught up?
Yay! Thanks, Uncle Gordolf. Yeah, we got most of that, thanks! Okay, we're gonna head back to our posts now. Sounds like things are pretty crazy out there again. I hope Mash is okay. Not to worry, Da Vinci's report was quite upbeat, so if nothing else, we can be certain that Mash is safe. The real problem is this water mirror spell of Morgan's. According to the data enclosed along with the report, it would seem that...
So those dark clouds over the city of Norwich weren't a calamity pool, but one of Morgan's spells? It's hard to believe she was able to remotely control such a powerful spell from over 100 kilometers away. Between this water mirror and Rongominiad, it's clear she's a powerful enemy on par with any of the other Lost Belt kings we've seen.
I'm afraid I don't know much about Morgan's legend. Could I ask you to fill me in? I only know her story from proper human history, but if you'll settle for that, then sure. Alright, let's start with her general background. According to British myth, she is the good fairy of the lake. And in the legend of King Arthur, she's depicted as an evil witch bent on destroying him. Morgan was the child of the Duke of Tintagel and Lady Igraine, and later became King Arthur's half-sister after her mother married King Uther. But despite their family ties, she grew jealous of him and began plotting all sorts of wickedness to make his life miserable. Some of her more notable misdeeds include stealing the sacred sword scabbard and seducing Lancelot. But the worst thing she did was trick King Arthur into impregnating her with Mordred, who she later sent to join the Round Table. There were a lot of factors leading up to the downfall of King Arthur's kingdom, but Morgan's definitely the one who tipped it over the edge. Paradoxically, there are also some who believe another side of Morgan was devoted to protecting King Arthur. Those theories claim that Morgan and Vivian, the Lady of the Lake who gave King Arthur the sacred sword and protected him in death, are in fact the same person. Sounds like her lust for power led her to become a femme fatale who ruined an entire nation. So what's the Magecraft world's consensus on her? There must be more to her story than what's commonly known.
Indeed there is. I went through our database myself after receiving our technical advisor's first report. There was one bombshell right out of the gate, and it relates to her birth. It turns out Morgan was not actually the Duke of Tintagel's daughter. That was only a pretense. She was actually the child of Lady Igraine and King Uther, the rightful king of Britain. More stunning still, Morgan was never human. Instead, she was a Fey child, an offspring of the Isle of Britain, just like Vortigern, the cowardly king. But apparently, Morgan kept that fact secret, and pretended to be merely a normal human child. Still, with King Uther as her father, and in the absence of a rightful heir, she would have been next in line for the throne. But then a rightful heir did appear. Once Artoria, King Arthur, was accepted by the Sacred Sword and unified the Lords of Britain under her leadership, Morgan stopped hiding her mystics, that is, the power of her Fey nature, and started poisoning Camelot every chance she could. She told herself Artoria is nothing more than a human king made so by other humans. I am Britain's true king. I alone deserve to inherit its mystics. This conviction of hers grew to the point that she eventually came to despise her father, King Uther, her sister Artoria, and every human who refused to obey her. It was a major factor in her decision to try to destroy Britain. Why did King Arthur's once noble older sister Morgan become Camelot's greatest enemy in her later years? Apparently, that's the answer.
Yeah, even after she had settled in as the Queen of Orkney, she still plotted Camelot's downfall from afar. 4 of the Knights of the Round Table, Gawain, Gaheris, Gareth, and Agravain, were Morgan's children. Mordred was... well, I don't know if I should say this without them here, but some experts think they were actually a homunculus Morgan created, or even a clone of King Arthur. Particulars like that aside, it sounds pretty clear that she was an enemy of King Arthur, and a witch who tried to destroy all of Britain. So what about the supposed side of her that was focused on keeping King Arthur safe? An excellent question, Captain. There are numerous Arthurian legends, and each of them describes Morgan differently. One claims she was King Arthur's noble sister, another claims she was the Lady of the Lake, and yet another claims she had been a goddess of Britain since ancient times. Needless to say, each claim would seem to rule the others out as a possibility. Common sense would dictate that one of these theories is correct and the others refer to someone else entirely. But I believe that they are in fact all true, and that Morgan was possessed of 3 aspects. Given that she was born under supernatural circumstances, I surmise that her human side, her fairy side, and the part of her that was Britain's own avatar all existed simultaneously. But as these parts of herself are essentially irreconcilable within a single entity, I suspect each of these aspects became an independent being. One was her human side, Artoria's kind older sister Morgan. Another was her fairy side, Vivian, the Lady of the Lake. And the third was the avatar of Britain, Morgan Le Fay. If we assume that to be the case, everything makes sense. The Knights of the Round Table, then, did not bring her to justice because she was both good and evil. Now I see. Okay, I'm convinced. But hang on, isn't Vivian another name for Nimue, the fairy who imprisoned Merlin? Yes, it is. Morgan is both King Arthur's rival and Merlin's greatest enemy. Though Merlin was the one who taught Vivian magecraft, her infatuation with him eventually led to her despising him and ultimately sealing him away. To do so, she employed a great bounded field in the form of a sarcophagus spell inscribed with the words, only those free of sin may pass. As an incubus, not even Merlin could escape it. It was a spell from the Age of Gods known as Garden, which could only be used by an avatar of a mystic. While it is still unclear how much of this Lost Belt's history has in common with Morgan from Proper Human History, it would seem prudent to assume that she has more weapons at her disposal than Rongominiad alone. First it's the Lion King in Jerusalem, and now it's Morgan in Fairy Britain, huh? I swear, why are we always getting mixed up with Arthurian legends? I mean, I can understand it in this case since we're in Britain now and all, but still. I mean, what are we gonna do if Albion shows up next? I don't think even the Stormborder would have a chance against that. Albion? That is what this isle was known as in ancient times before it became known as Britain. Though, of course, the name also refers to something else in the Magecraft world. There, it refers to the last pure-blooded dragon, Albion. An extinct phantasmal who remained on the Isle of Britain even as the Age of Gods came to an end. The creatures we call dragons today are simply animals who happened to acquire some of the dragon genes left behind by the dragon kin who went over to the reverse side of the world, and ended up adopting the dragon's way of life while preserving their own. With the exception of Albion's corpse, not a single pure-blooded dragon is left on this entire planet.
Yes, that is what it says in the clock tower, isn't it? Quite a romantic notion, that. But that is all it is, and Albion is but one in a long list of fairy tales. And more importantly, it has now been 28 days since we began this mission. Thanks to the concentrated fruit essence our technical advisor has been sending along with her reports, we now have magical energy to spare, which would let us remain here past our initial 50-day estimate. Perhaps we should advise them to stop by the border.
True, maybe we should. Ideally, I was hoping to complete this mission within 30 days, but that's clearly not going to happen. And that said, we still don't know exactly when the collapse is going to begin, so we shouldn't be too quick to change our time limit. If we stick to our initial plan, we still have 17 days left to complete the mission. Do you think Gouda's team can pull it off in that time frame, Holmes? Well, according to Da Vinci's report, it would seem the circumstances are nearly all in place. If their meeting with High Queen Morgan ends peacefully and she proves willing to share information about Rongominiad with them, they can then devote the rest of their time to investigating the collapse. And if it doesn't end peacefully? Now that Caldi has thrown their lot in with the Child of Prophecy, war would be all but inevitable. We already know the extent of Fairy Britain's military power. If Artoria is able to complete her pilgrimage and muster a significant anti-Queen force, the battle for Camelot will be decided in a single day. I suspect that battle will take place in 16 days at the earliest, just barely within our deadline.
Section 10. Camelot.
Oh, we shouldn't go to Camelot.
'Tis a silly place. I can hear people singing the Child of Prophecy song in the streets.
I shall speak now of a future, of the end of the Isle of Mystics which came to be known as Fairyland. Let the innocent return. Here stands the Queen's unknowable castle. It falls, like rain, like ash. It vanishes, like snow, like lies. Our desires languish deferred. Even now we dance in the palm of the Queen's hand. We require now only a little more patience. After 2,000 years, the dawn shall bring the child who will be our salvation. She shall be the child who saves the world, who binds both peoples together. Even if her light begins as but an ember, even should no one see it, she will become as a flame to draw moths. A city of iron, a sea of soot. When the calamity recedes, her pilgrimage begins. Chosen by the staff of selection, the Savior, guarded by travelers from afar, shall reach the throne. The true king shall arrive at the throne. Accept now this bloodied crown.
Ring, ring, like raging thunder, like weeping flame. Let us hearken to the 6 bells ringing. Blaze the path of the true king. Ere the red calamity catches us, ere the black calamity devours us. Indolent and derelict though we may be, we are the scions of the free Fae. Never have we wished for anything, but still we desire a shining future. There's no mention of Norwich being destroyed in that song. So why did Oberon say there was nothing anyone could do to stop its destruction? I wonder, does he know more of this song than everyone else? I do, as a matter of fact. The prophecy actually has 18 verses in total. Most fairies are only familiar with the 14 we just heard, but there are actually 4 more. I knew it! Why didn't you tell us sooner, Oberon? I just forgot to mention it, okay? I'm sorry. Can we please just drop it?
You can't bluster your way through all your mistakes, you know.
You're right. But I don't want to lie either. It's hard on me. Alright, I'll tell you. These are the other 4 verses of the prophecy, at least as I heard them. Verse 8.5. The harbor shall return to empty shore, but the calamity shall vanish into the distant sky. Verse 9.5. The round fortress shall burn, and the bell of water shall appear. Verse 10.5. Confessed sinners shall make the acquaintance of the guillotine. Verse 12.5. Having fulfilled her role, the child of prophecy shall say farewell to her home. As you can see, these verses are a lot more ominous. That, and the fact that they're not very precise for a prophecy, might be why they were excised. Case in point, verse 8.5. The harbor shall return to empty shore, but the calamity shall vanish into the distant sky. The harbor is obviously Norwich, and the empty shore part must mean the city was going to be wiped off the coast. So I was steeling myself to lose Norwich even if we were able to repel the calamity. But, well... But Norwich didn't fall. Is it because another child of prophecy appeared? It could be. This basically proves that not even Ainsl's prophecies are perfect, especially for these 4 verses. So I've decided I'm just not going to worry about them anymore. Now, on a more important note, you guys need to get going soon. Between Artoria, Gareth, Muramasa, and Habitrat, I think you should all be safe without me. So I hope you don't mind if I go off on my own again.
More information gathering?
Partly, yes, but I also just really want to give Spriggan his comeuppance. So I thought I'd stay here and work with the Count to knock him down a peg or 2 dozen until we hit rock bottom. Besides, we could have been reunited with Mash much sooner if he hadn't insisted on keeping the Child of Prophecy in his castle. Don't you think he deserves at least a little punishment for that?
Oh, I'd say he deserves a lot.
Just leave it to me. Bloodshed may not be the Fairy King's style, but I can definitely bleed him dry financially.
Before we leave, there's something I need to let you all know.
Let me guess, Oberon's going off on his own again, right? I had a feeling he might.
Gotcha. Well, I guess we don't all have to stick together all the time. And it's not like he's much help in combat.
I'm sure Oberon will be fine on his own, but how come Redra isn't here either? He's staying behind too. Technically, he is still Aurora's retainer after all. And it wouldn't be too good if he were to be seen with us right now. So I'm gonna have him stay here with Oberon and bring the carriage if we need it. I see, that makes sense. But, you there, the pink fairy, Habitrat, right? Are you coming with us too? I mean, the way to Camelot is probably pretty dangerous, so... Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. Just think of me as a spectator along for the ride. In fact, you should probably be more worried about yourself than me, Gareth. I'm the irreplaceable healer every party needs in combat, and I'm probably stronger than you too. Don't worry, Gouda, I'm not gonna let you die before you and Mash are reunited. So feel free to wade into battle all you like. As long as you don't die, I can patch you up with my magic needle no matter what horrific injuries you sustain.
That sounds both very close to and very far from Nightingale's preferred treatment methods.
Nightingale! Now that's a nice fairy name. So you already know a nurse as cute as me, huh? Quiet, everyone. Here comes the Queen's troops from the main gate. I apologize for a 10-minute delay. I am Tamlin Gawain, and these are 30 members of the 1st Royal Knight Moor Extermination Brigade. We are the ones who will be providing you, honored guests of Camelot, with safe passage.
Thanks for your help.
We would appreciate your cooperation as well. Being aware that you are being escorted can make life much easier for the soldiers escorting you after all. We have readied a carriage for the Child of Prophecy and the Foreign Mage. Your retainers will need to walk. I trust that is all right. You're that scoundrel who tried to assassinate the High Queen. How are you still alive? I saw you fall into the pit.
Oh, that. Yeah, Lancelot handed me my ass and tossed me right into the pit. But unfortunately for you, I managed to survive, and now I'm the Child of Prophecy's bodyguard. Next time you see Lancelot, tell her not to take her eyes off a servant until their spirit origin's completely gone. What should we do, Lady Gawain? Are we really okay with letting this man back into Camelot? What if he tries to assassinate the Queen again?
It's fine. If he does, he will no longer have the element of surprise. I can take him myself. Especially now that the Queen has assured me not to worry if combat damages or destroys the castle.
Yeah? Hey, that's great. You barely fit in the place anyway. Should help you move around better. Next time we fight, I'd rather it just be head-to-head without either of us holding anything back.
I guess the Child of Prophecy has something of an eye for talent after all. However much her other retainers suggest otherwise. Fine. You there, make room in one of the carts for our guests. The servants can ride with the Foreign Mage. Treating those two as honored guests, at least until we reach the castle, will help us all move faster.
Yes, my lady, right away.
We shall be taking the western road to Camelot and spend one night in Oxford along the way. We will then take a detour around the pit towards Camelot. For the next 2 days, our fates shall be intertwined. We will not turn our swords on each other regardless of what may happen. Do you agree to that, Foreign Mage?
Of course.
Good. Then let us be off. Soldiers, do not let your guard down simply because this is an escort mission. The Calamity's destruction has led to more toxins spreading far and wide across Britain. Eliminate any Moors you come across immediately upon discovery. I don't want to hear even a peep of discomfort from our guests. Well, that's a relief. This carriage ride's just as smooth as Red Rabbit's. By the way, Gouda, are you really ready for this?
To meet the Queen, you mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, what else? Oh man, you're not ruffled at all, are you? I bet you've already been through lots of meetings like this, huh? Oh, it's not that, Artoria. Gouda's just as nervous as you are. He's just had enough experience with situations like this to understand the value of staying calm. Masters need to give orders to and watch out for their servants after all. So while Gouda might not be able to fight on the front line himself, he's very good at keeping cool under pressure. Really? So you've met a lot of other kings then?
And some goddesses, too. So you'd think I'd be used to this sort of thing by now, but no, not even close.
By the way, I heard something interesting about Tamlin Gawain back in Norwich. Apparently, she was the first fairy to be made a Tamlin during the era of the High Queen. About 200 years ago, during year 1800 of the era of the High Queen, there was a huge outbreak of caterpillar moors in central Britain. That calamity later came to be known as the Caterpillar War, and it was Gawain who put a stop to it. So while it might not have been like the calamity we got rid of in Norwich, she still resolved a calamity just like Artoria did, and that's what led to the Queen recognizing her skill.
Surprised? Overcome with newfound respect?
No, nothing about... Gawain would surprise me or make me respect her. That said, I guess this means Morgan's not the only fairy to have dispelled a calamity then. I guess this means I'm even less special than I thought. Oh man, now I'm even more nervous. Oh crap, sorry. I didn't mean to make you even more nervous. And hey, from what I heard, the Caterpillar War wasn't all that big of a calamity. I mean, the one at Norwich was a once-in-a-millennium great calamity, so it had to be smaller than that. Don't forget, we saved an entire city. You have every right to be proud of that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, Mash and Gouda might have done most of the heavy lifting, but I definitely still contributed, and when it came to defeating Moors, I can hold my own against any Tamlin.
More smoke spotted nearby, incoming from 3, 7, and 11 o'clock. Lightning soldiers, prepare your mystic codes. Guards, get into your formations.
Gouda!
On it, let's go help.
If you're out here, I assume you have no intention of sitting back and letting us do all the fighting. Very well, I would welcome your aid. There are a lot of more here, so I would prefer to avoid casualties. Follow me, Child of Prophecy, Foreign Mage. Make sure you stay close to me.
Crunchy.
There are still 10 large Moors to contend with. No, more are still coming. We can't handle this many.
Those of you without iron weaponry, stand back. Do not engage. Just lure them to one spot so I can burn them all at once.
We're trying, but these Moor aren't falling for the decoy. It's almost like they're here for something else this time.
Something else? Could it be they're after the Child of Prophecy? You.
No need to thank me. We're all fighting the same battle here. Now, what are you gonna do about this? Any seasoned general like you ought to know when it's time to retreat.
I hate to admit it, but he's right. I could either abandon the carts and have my soldiers retreat, or I could have the guests go on ahead. No, I am a Tamlin. Retreating from Moor is not an option. But they refuse to cluster in any one spot, so they're clearly being wary of my Galatine. They just destroyed the rearmost cart! What do we do, Habanyan? Oh man, what good's having a Tamlin around if we still have to fight ourselves? She sucks at this. Why would you give massive amounts of literally unbridled firepower to someone who's already crap at holding back? Oh well, what's done is done. No use complaining about it now. I may not much like fighting, but walking all the way to Camelot could be worse. Come on, Gareth, let's go take out the little Moor and leave the big ones to the Tamlin. Okay, I'll do my best. I've gotten more used to fighting more, so... Habenyan? Are you seeing that blue streak of light? It's heading straight for us from Camelot. That's the same light I saw at Sheffield. Forget eliminating all of them. Retreat! Keep the carriage in the first cart and abandon the rest. Hurry! Lightning soldiers, defend the guests. Royal Guard, retrieve the luggage from the other carts. I'll keep the more occupied until... What are you doing here, Lancelot? I didn't ask for your help. I don't think you need my help either, but the High Queen commanded me to come. Hostiles detected. Eliminating. Stand back, Gawain. Taking out individual targets is my area.
Whoa, she just flew in there and out of nowhere and utterly destroyed them. She's like a fighter jet in fairy form.
All more have been destroyed. Brilliant work, Lady Lancelot. So this is what they mean when they call you the undefeated Dragon Fairy, the most beautiful Tamlin in all of Britain. I still can't believe you took out so many of those large Moors so easily.
There. I eliminated the Moor just like the High Queen told me to. I'll let you handle the escort from here, Gawain.
What the hell was she? Some kind of VTOL aircraft?
Huh. As if you were even capable of handling an escort mission. Don't just stand there, you fools. Start fixing the wrecked cart. If this is the best you lot can do on the first day of this mission, I shudder to think of how you'll fare in the days ahead, and you can forget about resting in Oxford. I want a report from each and every one of you later on how this situation could have been prevented.
Yes, my lady. My deepest apologies, Lady Gawain.
Pathetic. I would have thought all of you together would be able to defeat at least one or two of the large ones. I suppose this just goes to show how overly reliant you've become on us Tamlin. It seems I'll need to start re-educating the fairy soldiers like I'm doing with the humans. Oh, my apologies. I appreciate your help, Sorry again, I never did ask your name, did I? I wasn't authorized to do so. But now that you have aided us in a dangerous predicament, that is no excuse. I am Gawain. What is your name, foreign mage?
I'm Gouda.
Well met, Gouda. I appreciate your obvious hostility towards me. You've got spirit. I like that since we'll be enemies later. Alright, let's get this escort mission back on track. Oh, and I would advise you to watch what you say in the carriage. I could easily overhear you depending on which way the wind is blowing. Man, I thought we were going to be put up in a nice inn at Oxford. I can't believe we're camping out again. Alright, if we can't have nice accommodations, at least we can still have nice food. Sorry we don't have enough to share with the Royal Guards, but I say we have the cakes the Count gave us now. Ooh, it looks like mine's called a cheesecake. What's yours called, Artoria? Mine says Swiss roll. Oh, wow, it's shaped like a log. This should make it much easier to eat. That's so thoughtful of the Count. You proper human history people are also considerate.
I guess you could say that, sure. Sweet Yam Yokon? How the hell did he manage to make this here? Huh. Some tea would go real nice with this. I think I'll go down to that river and fetch some water.
What was this called again? Chiffon cake? So this is what happiness itself tastes like. I had no idea they had so many kinds of sweets these days. Oh yeah, it seems even Fairy Britain have been developing a bunch of cake recipes. Back in Salisbury, I heard about Woodrow's restaurant chain in the south and Edinburgh's gourmet desserts in the north. But it sounds like cheesecake's the one kind that never caught on. I wonder why. Really? Well, it's so yummy. It does make me a little thirsty, though. It's because a big shot up north absolutely despises cheesecake. She always says cheese has no place in dessert and that it has to be chocolate or nothing.
Sounds like someone after my own heart.
Though, of course, for fairies from the south like me, chocolate is such a luxury I don't even know what it tastes like. It costs so many more pounds that low-level fairies can basically never afford it. What's up, Kuda?
I'm gonna go make a little peace offering. Do you have a custom of eating sweets after a meal here?
I don't usually care for sweets. If I'm going to eat something cooked, I would rather have meat. So no, I will not accept that. But I can see you have something to discuss. Go on then, take a seat. You want to talk to me about Lancelot, right? Very well then, ask me anything you wish to.
Actually, I wanted to ask about you.
I see. You're trying to figure out my true name. Pointless, but I can at least respect your willingness to try anything you can. Come to think of it, I still haven't properly thanked you for your help earlier today, have I? Come, sit. If you wish to talk, I can indulge you for a short while. I manifested in Britain 400 years ago. I was meant to be the next generation, the successor of an upper-class Fang fairy in Norwich. Except that I didn't look anything like my predecessor. Even though I'm a Fang Clan fairy, I was born resembling a Wind Clan one. No, if anything, I looked like a human. Some suspected I might be a changeling. Others said I was a curse from a battle against the Moor that took place 600 years ago. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know the truth, and I don't care either. I earned the honor of becoming a Tam Lin when I ended the Caterpillar War. Up until that point, the title of Tam Lin had been sealed away for all 1800 years of the High Queen's reign. In case you don't know, the Tam Lin title originally belonged to the retainers of Ash, who is said to be Britain's savior in the Fae era. The first Tam Lin was called... I'm sorry, I actually cannot remember their name. At any rate, they met their end in Orkney. After that, the Queen forbade the naming of more Tam Lin. But she decided to revoke her own seal to exterminate the endlessly spawning caterpillars. And thus, I was gifted the name of Sir Gawain, which is said to be the name of a knight of the Round Table of a foreign land, and gained the means to strengthen my horn. My Galatine, I believe you called it a noble phantasm. While I am confident it is every bit the equal of Sir Gawain's original, I am just as confident that I cannot hold a candle to the original Sir Gawain, the Knight of the Round Table from proper human history.
Huh, I didn't think she would have so much respect for the Knights of the Round Table.
But never mind. I should not be talking about the Round Table. I'm told it is creepy when I do so for some reason. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Ah, I know. Let's talk about the war against the Moor. This war took place a millennium ago, along with one of the great calamities during the 1000th year of the era of the High Queen. It was a time when the Moor had a king and an army, and waged wars against the High Queen and 5 of the 6 clans. Apparently, the king was something of an odd duck. He never attacked fairies nor killed humans. All he cared for was fire and lightning. He would gleefully destroy anything and then only for the joy of watching it burn. He reduced cities and forests to cinders, raised the ground before him, and summoned rain clouds just to hear their thunder. Some fairies called him the Storm King, at least until the High Queen forbade anyone from speaking that name. The war against the Moor King lasted for decades until finally the Fang Clan brought it to an end. Woodwose, a fairy who had recently succeeded the head of the previous Fang Clan at the time, was the one who dealt the final blow. And so the Great Calamity, the king of the Moor who feasted on magical energy, was defeated before the Fang Clan. However, it's said that with his dying breath, the king cast a curse upon the Fang Clan.
A curse? What kind of curse?
The fairy-eating black dogs. It was only after the king of the Moor vanished that the black dogs began to roam Fairy Britain. However, they also eat more, so they're not just harmful. There are even some squads who train black dogs and use them in Moor hunts. Mine is one of them, in fact. Have you ever heard the epithet, the Black Dog Duchess? It refers to me. Even now that I have become a Tam Lin, I'm still called a black dog. But I do not blame them. After all, I eat everything, including fairies and humans.
Eh?
Oh? Now you're scared of me? So you had no idea you were trying to get information out of a woman feared throughout Fairy Britain as a monster. Well, worry not. I would never eat you. I only consume the strong. I'm unusual for a fairy. What I eat makes me stronger. In fact, I can inherit any unusual powers or abilities the fairies I eat may possess, though with limits on capacity and compatibility. And right now I am still full on Foul Weather, the great Earth Clan fairy. I needed his sacrament for the Caterpillar War. It was crucial. But he had holed up in his fortress in Cornwall and refused to come out. So I challenged him to a duel, defeated him, and devoured him. Alright, I think that is enough time spent relaxing after dinner. Go back to your camp now.
Hey, thanks for talking to me. I thought you'd be more the strong silent type, but I'm glad I was wrong.
I am used to talking with humans. In fact, my current husband is human.
Really?
Well, I'd say he's my husband, but he's neither a romantic partner nor a future meal. He's just a guest I'm putting up in my mansion while he recuperates. Still, you do remind me of him, in both your lack of fear and your innocent curiosity. Alright, back to your camp now. My soldiers and I will take turns keeping watch. Don't stay up too late. We'll be setting out early tomorrow morning.
Forgive us. No more prayers, close your eyes. There's not much time left. The veil has fallen. Extinguish the light. Today is ending. Farewell. This day too will end forever. Forgive us our sins. It's too late to do anything now, but make sure everything is cleaned up. There it is again. It's that song again. Two days after leaving Norwich, day 30 in Fairy Britain.
So that's Fairy Britain's Camelot.
I've never seen it from the other side of the pit before. It's definitely impressive, isn't it? So that part we were seeing from Oxford must have only been the back of the castle. I thought it looked more like a wall than a castle, but now it looks more properly royal. It's got one urban area around the main gate and another one inside the ramparts. I'm guessing that's to separate the general populace from the upper crust.
Don't let the gate fool you. The side facing the pit is actually the castle's front.
Really? So that big fancy gate is actually the back gate?
Oh no, that's the main gate. Sorry for confusing you, Gareth. There's no way into the castle from the pit. You gotta go through the gate to get inside.
What about fairies who can fly? Couldn't they just zip inside?
Nah, it ain't that simple. There's a magecraft barrier around the front of the castle, the side facing the pit. If you ever fall in there yourself, you'll see there's a ton of gun ports all along the Camelot's walls. And you don't usually put cannons behind a castle, right? So we can be pretty sure the side facing the pit's the front. So if Morgan's not worried about an attack from the main gate, then...
Guda! Gawain's glaring at something up north. Whatever it is, she's obviously upset about it. You're friends now, right? Go on, go ask her what it is.
Okay, alright. She's real insistent about this.
What is it, Guda? Are you suddenly having second thoughts about entering Camelot? It's not that. You're wondering what's got me so upset? Can't you see for yourself? It's Knocknaria's army up north. Knocknaria, where? I don't see her anywhere. Ah, right. You're too short, aren't you? What a shame. Well, no matter. It's none of your concern anyway. Are you kidding? Of course it is! Come on, Guda, let me stand on your shoulders. Red Rabbit isn't here now, so you'll have to do. Whoa there, hang on. Before you go through all that trouble, how about you use one of my handy-dandy gadgets first? Here, a spyglass. This'll let you see at least as far as Gawain can. Now, take a look at those plains up north, and you'll see some really intense glares pointed this way.
Let's see...
Oh wow, I can see super far with this. Thanks, Da Vinci. Try turning the dial on the side. It's set to 5 kilometers right now. But if you crank it to the 4th notch, you can set it to 20. There, see them? There's a ton of fairies gathered in those plains. That must be the Northern Army that the other queen we've been hearing so much about. Knocknaria of the King Clan. That's her army. It's not just Fang and Earth Clan fairies. There are also lots of soldiers with masks. Are those giants? There are giants there! That's right. Knocknaria's rule bestows power and wealth upon any who swear fealty to her. It's the opposite of Gloucester and Murrian. However, that effect only works when Knocknaria herself is nearby. I see, so if she wants her troops to be effective, then she can't be far from them. Go on, Guda, try looking a little further ahead. See that huge carriage? The one that looks like a small fortress? There's a fairy standing on top of it looking down at us from there. And even though this is your first time seeing her, I think you'll be able to agree that there's no mistaking who this Northern Queen is.
Let me see... Nice angle. Well, that's definitely a very Celtic bodysuit.
Whoa, that's Maeve, the Queen of Connacht I fought in America.
Maeve, you mean there's a fairy just like her in your world too? Wait, why is she staring at you instead of me? Did you do something to upset her, Gura? 20 kilometers away or not, I can't believe she brought her troops all the way out here. Isn't this obviously a hostile action towards Queen Morgan? Knocknaria and her forces are still just within her territory. She claims she's only running military exercises in preparation for the Great Calamity. 10 days ago, she was conducting those exercises 40 kilometers away. Now that Sheffield has fallen, she's closed the distance and come further down south.
She must have 30,000 troops out there. That's not just a threat, it's preparation for all-out war. How the hell does she keep them all fed? Oh, right, fairies don't need to eat.
No, we don't. Unlike humans, that's one of Knocknaria's army's defining characteristics. She despises humans and won't even use them in combat against more. She envisions a Britain run by and for fairies alone, with her as its sole monarch.
That both does and doesn't sound like something Maeve would say.
That said, she won't be sending her troops any further. She has no definitive reason to challenge the High Queen, nor much chance of success if she were to try. The Northern Fairies have been incited to rebellion against the High Queen several times before, and each time they find themselves retreating north with their tails tucked firmly between their legs. This time will be no different. Alright, that's enough idle chatter. Let's go. We're about to pass through the main gate. From now on, I suggest you remain sharper than ever. So this is Camelot's Castle Town. It's even bigger than Salisbury and even fancier than Gloucester. You can tell only upper-class fairies live here. The mana in the air here is like nowhere else in all Britain. And that castle keep over there... over there must be where they keep the existence taxes, the magical energy they extract from every fairy in Britain through command spells. I've heard stories about it, but this is way beyond what I was expecting. No wonder they're not worried about Knocknaria's army out there. It has to be way beneath their notice. Trying to take Morgan on now, someone would have to be crazy to do it. I guess Bogart must have never set foot here before. If he had, he'd never have thought to rebel. Then again, maybe he knew what he was up against and decided to press on anyway. I thought I saw some writing on the gate when we went through it. Did anyone else see that? Or happen to catch what it said? I did! It said, only those free of sin may pass in Old English. But I also noticed it had been painted over with red like someone didn't agree. This is as far as we go by carriage. The royal castle lies just ahead. Only the Child of Prophecy and the Foreign Mage have been granted audience with the High Queen. The rest of you will stay here where you will be treated as the attendants of our honored guests.
Oh? Meaning what exactly?
You see the Royal Hotel across the way? We have arranged for you to relax there while you wait. I will make arrangements for you all to reconvene once the meeting is concluded. However, your name is Da Vinci, yes? You seem like an intelligent fairy, servant. As a human, the Foreign Mage will surely need an advisor. You may accompany him in that role. Oh good, I was planning on tagging along regardless, but this makes things much easier. We may be on opposing sides, but I appreciate your consideration, Tamlin Gawain. Okay, Gareth, Muramasa, Habitrat, you heard the lady. You guys will have to stay here and wait for us. Don't worry, you've seen how well-ordered the Queen's army is over the last couple of days, Morgan's obviously even more of a stickler for rules than we thought. The three of us won't be in any danger even if we face her alone. We'll be safe for at least as long as we're in Camelot, regardless of how the meeting goes.
I'm not surprised. I did break into the castle my first time here. I didn't expect them to invite me in. Anyway, good luck in there, Artoria. Don't get so carried away you end up saying something you regret, alright? And you too, Gouda. Watch your partner's back. Got it?
I can't say I'm not worried, but strangely I do agree it feels like you'll be safe. Okay, well I'll be waiting for you here. Be careful, Artoria. Good luck! I'm fine with this arrangement too. I'm not interested in Morgan anyway. I'm just here to keep an eye on things until Gouda and Mash are reunited.
Alright, let's do this thing. Let's go, Artoria. I can't believe it took us almost an hour to get up the stairs to the throne room.
Kneel, present, worship, submit. Emissaries to the throne, cease your breathing. 30 ambassadors, 100 officials, close your mouths. You are in the presence of High Queen Morgan, the king who expands our boundaries and upon whose shoulders all of Britain rests. Revel in her glory. Know this, child of prophecy. Know this, foreign mage. This meeting is a sign of the High Queen's grace and amnesty.
Thank you. It is so very good of you all to come, even without a formal invitation. My ambassadors and officials are now commanded to be silent. Until this meeting ends or I order otherwise, the only people present permitted to speak are myself, my guests, and
me, Barrow Gut, the Queen's hubby. Sorry, fancy fairies.
Barrow Gut, so he really is here in Camelot. Did he say he's Morgan's husband?
Hey there, Gouda and friends. I haven't seen you all since Olympus. Eh? Why the look of surprise? Hey now, don't tell me Mash didn't tell you I'm Morgan's beau. Does this mean Queen Morgan is... Right? As a master yourself, of course that's where your mind goes, right, Gouda? Yep, it's true. I admit it, I'm Morgan's master. The partner of the High Queen who rules over the land of Fae. But that doesn't make any sense. Sure it does, and it's true. I mean, yeah, she's so far out of my league, I have a hard time believing it myself, but facts are facts.
Artoria, I give you permission to approach. Raise your head. Okay. I see. It appears you truly are the child of prophecy. And you must be the foreign mage. The master of Chaldea seeking so desperately to restore what you call proper human history.
Yes, I am.
Your efforts in Norwich, though commendable, were unnecessary. Still, you did well eliminating the calamity. I will therefore reward you accordingly. Typically, I would compensate you in the currency of my realm. However, I understand the source of your magical energy is spatial magical energy, occupying values that you refer to as QP, which are derived by viewing magical elements as particles, correct? I trust 100 million of these should suffice. Take them.
And then she literally does give us 100 million QP.
That much? And wait, does this mean you have a QP mint here? Of course not. I will simply create them myself by using your own Magecraft Systems methods. I have nothing more to say. If there is nothing else you wish to discuss, then our business is concluded. Artoria, Gouda, if either of you would ask questions of me, now is the time. But be warned, though you are my guest, careless words may cost you that status and the protection it affords.
Artoria's withering under her gaze, not that I can blame her. Looks like it's up to me to speak first.
So you will speak up first, then? Very well, you are indeed brave. Tell me, Conqueror of 5 Lost Belts, what is it you want?
Caldia's goal is to resolve the Bleached Earth phenomenon.
Yes, I am aware of the situation in the outside world. Beryl Gut has informed me.
But there's been another anomaly detected in this Lost Belt that we need to resolve first.
Oh? What sort of anomaly? Using an ability similar to Einzel's ability of prophecy, we've observed a future depicting a cataclysmic collapse. We don't yet know what causes this collapse or how it will actually happen. But if it isn't stopped, it'll spread across all of Britain and ultimately destroy the entire planet. That's why Caldia came to Fairy Britain. We need to investigate this collapse and prevent it from ever happening. Now that the Tree of Emptiness is gone, we have no quarrel with this Lost Belt. Our goal is to stop this world's collapse, and that's all. I see. So you say you have come here not to conquer our world, but to save it. Is that all?
We also would like a divine construct we can use against the foreign god.
That's right. We were hoping to acquire the Sacred Lance Runga Miniad, the incredibly powerful spell you cast at Olympus. We would like for you to provide us with either a mystic code that lets us use that spell ourselves, or the magecraft theory we can use to recreate it.
Olympus? Foreign god? What in the world are those outsiders talking about? And how can they be so reckless making a demand of the High Queen of all people?
Yes, I know the weapon you seek. I also believe you when you say you have come to save Britain. And so I will say this to you. You and your proper human history will come to a miserable end.
Exclamation point.
This collapse you have observed will be the result of me expanding my territory. I shall be the one to put a true and final end to your history. I would never willingly surrender my divine construct to you, my mortal enemy. Gouda, arrogant child. To save your world, you will have to defeat me. What you call proper human history cannot be saved otherwise. Is that your way of declaring war on us, Queen Morgan? Proper human history in my realm can never coexist. If you wish to save your world, you will have to win it from me.
I really thought she might be willing to listen, but now we have to fight after all.
That goes for you too, Artoria, accursed child of Einzel's prophecy. The year's end will bring a great calamity. It shall once again destroy every fairy in Britain. But fairies do not learn, ever. No matter how many times they die, they will always be born anew. As long as my castle remains intact, Fairy Britain shall always be reborn, even should all of Britain burn. Your Majesty, are you saying you'll only protect your kingdom and not your citizens? Yes. I offer fairies no salvation. I shall defend my land, nothing more. With all the magical energy I have stored in this throne, I have nothing to fear from the great calamity. Furthermore, only a chosen fairy can sit on this throne. You are neither like other fairies nor that foreign mage. You have been chosen. You are neither a rebel nor an invader. You are the Staff of Selection's chosen wielder. By accepting my invitation, you have proven yourself the true child of prophecy. You, and you alone, have the right to bring me to justice, fairy sent from paradise. Even should you fill oceans with the blood you shed in battle against me, you would be innocent of sin. If you wish to save Britain, you must defeat me and claim the throne for yourself. Go then. Fulfill that absurd prophecy if you can. You should know better than anyone that you have no choice. Then it would seem our discussion is concluded. I am pleased we now understand each other.
I know, right? Who wants a nice, peaceful resolution when everyone goes home buddy-buddy with no bloodshed? So, on that note, you guys were stupid enough to come here with nothing more than faith in people's innate goodness and honor. And now your negotiations have completely broken down. You didn't really think you could leave here without a fight, right?
Of course not! Good, Artoria, get behind me. I thought this might happen. Be silent. Even now, these are my honored guests. I will permit not so much as a hair on their heads to come to harm, nor will I allow even an insult to their pride until they have left Camelot.
Are you shitting me?
Forgive my husband's insolence, child. Daughter of Tintagel, so long as you remain Artoria, I shall not recognize you as my enemy. As long as the bells of pilgrimage remain unrung, my lords are forbidden from attacking any of you. However, if she does start ringing the bells and officially declares herself the child of prophecy, then, and only then, shall I name her, along with Caldia, my enemies and marshal my army against you. I therefore advise you think very carefully before beginning a war you cannot possibly win. Now stand down. I am certain there is nothing left to say. Or is there?
Hold on. I gotta say...
Eat shit, Beryl.
Also, where did you take Mash?
Mash? What is that? That is the name of our companion, the one you swallowed up with the spell you usually use to get rid of calamities. She's a demi-servant with the spirit origin of Galahad, the Shield Knight. Since you named your Tamlin after other Knights of the Round Table, I'm sure you must know that name too. I see. That explains it. Yes, I hold your knight captive.
Where is she?
I see no reason I should tell you. She is my trophy. But I can assure you she is alive and well. No one can harm her, not even me.
At least we have a small lead on Mash now, but...
Yeah, that wasn't much of a discussion, was it? She basically told us we're enemies and threatened to show us no mercy if we dared to defy her. Yeah, I can't say that was a very productive talk. We now know that Morgan definitely sees proper human history as her enemy. And we now know that Mash is safe, but being kept in captivity somewhere. But that's just confirmation of some things we already at least suspected. I didn't see anything that could give us any kind of clue as to how we could possibly beat her in a fight.
We didn't learn anything useful about the Divine Construct either.
Actually, we did make just a bit of progress there. Remember that That atrium in the throne room, the one overlooking the pit. Well, I noticed a distinct magical energy there. It was very similar to the Lion King's in the Sixth Singularity. That confirms for me that Morgan has Rongominiad on hand in weaponized form. And not just one or two of them, either. She must have at least 10 in place around Camelot's main gate. And with that many of them on hand, she must have already used them here several times before. So we can assume the one she threw at Olympus must have been just one of several she had at the ready. It would have been great if she had been willing to sell us just one of them, but it's pretty clear that's not an option. So now, the only way for us to complete our initial objective of acquiring the divine construct for ourselves is to defeat Morgan.
We definitely have our work cut out for us, don't we?
Still, at least we made it out of there safe and sound, so we also know that Queen Morgan is true to her word. True, both Morgan herself and all of Camelot might be so stuffed with magical energy it's downright chilling, but she was also adamant about upholding the laws that she set as queen. She didn't even listen to Beryl when he tried to break them.
Once more, get wrecked, Beryl.
I know, Gouda, that only makes it all the more mysterious. Beryl said he was Morgan's master, and if that's true, it would make her a servant. But it can't be true because she's been ruling Fairy Britain for the last 2,000 years. Beryl couldn't have come to this Lost Belt any sooner than the end of 2019, just like all the other cryptors. Obviously, Morgan would have already been the sovereign of this land by then, so he couldn't possibly have summoned her as a servant. So the question is he lying about that, or is he just being made to believe it? Either way, we need a lot more information before we can draw any conclusions. Oh hey, they're back! Guys, over here! Welcome back, Artoria. Gouda? So, how did the audience go? What's Queen Morgan really like? Was she terrifying? Was she strong? Was she really 10 meters tall? I mean, anyone who would take Tristan in as a daughter must eat nothing but other fairies, right? Well, she definitely seemed like a queen. Oh, cut that out, Gareth. Can't you see the Child of Prophecy's doing her best not to spoil your fun? The truth is, the Queen was completely ordinary. Right, Artoria? Isn't that what you want to say? I can tell. I'm an expert at reading fair maidens' minds, after all. Don't worry, Artoria. It's okay to just be yourself.
I don't know much about how maidens think, but being yourself is good advice. Deep down, you're a stubborn shrew with a fierce competitive streak, right? If anything, you were probably thinking something like, the Queen? I could take her any day of the week. Give me 1,000 years and I'd probably be way stronger than her.
I wasn't thinking anything of the sort. And could you at least make it 100 years? I guess we won't be getting a cushy carriage escort back to Norwich, especially after they basically kicked us out of town. I wasn't expecting the way back to be easy, but now that it's time, it's looking harder than ever. If they had just given us at least one carriage, we could have had a nice, comfortable ride back to... Huh?
Oh, hello! Fancy running into all of you here! I was taking our new carriage for a test drive and I just happened to find myself in Camelot. It seems like fate to me. Go on, get in, don't be shy. Oberon, you sly dog. You were totally aiming for this, weren't you? Yup, I figured you'd be finishing up around now. I take it your audience with the Queen is all done now. I'd love to hear all about it, but first, we should probably get going before our presence here gives the Queen's army any ideas.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to see you haven't been tempted by any other carriages. Say hello to our new and improved carriage. It's now got 6 passenger seats and 2 sleeping berths. With this bad boy, I can promise you all a more comfortable journey around Britain than ever before. You'll see, they don't call me Red Rye Homestretch Bit for nothing.
That's great to hear about the carriage, but why are you all glammed up too?
Once I told the fairies of Norwich that I was one of the Child of Prophecy's attendants, they were delighted to absolutely pamper me. The Earth Clan fairies whipped this armor up for me during the celebration.
I see. Well, that's nice. I just hope you're ready to pay for it yourself.
And that's how our audience with Morgan ended. Well, she certainly didn't mince words, did she? Morgan is eager for this fight. I'd hoped that there might be some way to broker peace with Caldia and the Child of Prophecy met with her together, but
she's obviously never had any intention of giving up her throne to the Child of Prophecy, the true king.
And that's not all. Morgan doesn't even plan on saving Britain. She said she was going to expand her territory and destroy the outside world, right? I was already pretty sure that was her plan, but I didn't know how she planned on pulling it off. But after hearing about your meeting, I think I've got it. She's going to use the Great Calamity herself. How so? Remember the water mirror spell she used at Norwich? That's what she has always used to get rid of calamities before. Isn't that right, Hobbytrot?
Yup, she usually doesn't break it out that massive of a scale, but that teleportation spell's one of her go-tos.
So even if Gouda and Mash hadn't come to such extraordinary lengths, she would have still made the calamity disappear. Or rather, she would have made it her own. I think Morgan has been trying to acquire the calamities for herself. And if she is, that must mean she's able to harness their magical energy and use it as her own. That's the magical energy she's going to use to overwrite Gouda's world, proper human history, and make it her territory. She's going to take the curse meant to destroy the world of fairies and use it to destroy the world of humans. That's her plan. She's not out to stop the Great Calamity. She wants it to happen.
So instead of getting rid of the Great Calamity, she's going to use it as a weapon. Even though she has more than enough power to banish it like she did in Norwich. But then that would mean only the fairies inside Camelot would survive.
Now that you mention it, those upper-class fairies in Camelot all look down on the other cities. I even heard them say stuff like, the only fairies worth anything are those from Camelot, with a straight face. They've completely bought the whole privileged class nonsense the Queen fed them. I'm sure they just think of the Child of Prophecy as an irritant. I know the Queen said she wouldn't consider us her enemy until we ring one of the bells of pilgrimage, but she's also married to Beryl, right? It's a good thing Oberon showed up with the carriage when he did, because there's no telling when he might have sent troops after us.
You said it. First things first, we should put some distance between us and Camelot. We can figure out our next course of action after that. If nothing else, we know exactly what we have to do now. If we're going to save Britain, our world, and MASH, we're going to have to defeat Morgan.
Several hours after the meeting at the emptied throne room.
Still no sign of movement from the pit. That is concerning. That aside, a great calamity that comes every 2,000 years, huh? The sheer idiocy of these fairies never ceases to amaze. At least it is useful. I'll use whatever I must to erase proper human history forever. You again. You know that merely observing will resolve nothing. If you are truly the Foreign God's priestess, you should at least try to kill me. Though, of course, that assassination attempt by the disciple of the Foreign God did not go so well for him. No servant comprised of a heroic spirit from proper human history can hope to match my Tam Lin. If you will do nothing but stand there and watch, then do not show yourself. I tire of looking at you. If there is something you wish to say to me, then speak as he did.
Sorry to interrupt your chat. I would have knocked, but there's no door here.
Of course not. Why would I welcome guests merely because they came knocking? I do have a waiting room, though, had you cared to use it.
You mean the ghost ward down below? It is majestic, but unnecessary. I don't have time to wait. I'm neither omnipotent nor a talented mage like yourself. I'm just an ordinary man capable of nothing but ordinary work. Truthfully, I should be avoiding places like this where I have no business in the first place.
Your actions defy comprehension. You are clearly from Chaldea. You are on the side of proper human history. While the Foreign God means to wipe the slate of human history clean, I could end up destroying it before she gets a chance. Is that not why you are here? To stop me?
No. If you can really destroy it, go ahead.
What?
True, if left to your own devices, I'm sure you will indeed destroy this planet and erase humanity. And that is preferable to the Foreign God achieving her goal. Your goal is to wipe out human history so you can expand the land of the Fae and rule it as its queen. I can't approve of your goal or your approach to pursuing it, but I do respect what you've accomplished. So I will neither try to interfere with your plans nor lend Chaldea my aid. If you should succeed in rendering this planet a lifeless husk, I have no objection.
If you are not here to interfere, then why have you come? You claimed you have no time to waste, did you not?
I came to see what you've created here. It deserves at least that much. You saw the Tree of Emptiness for what it really was, and instead of fearing it, you used it yourself. You grasped Chaldea's summoning system instantly and made it your own. Those are truly exceptional accomplishments. There are scant few who have even approached your level of godlike genius. Now do you understand, High Queen Morgan? I came here to praise you. I cannot imagine there is anyone else willing or able to give you the accolades you deserve.
Your estimation of my magecraft skill means nothing to me. If anything, it sounds snide. Now, if that is all you have to say, then leave. This world is soon to be mine. There will be no place in it for either the Foreign God or a beast.
I know. This was the last chance to intervene anyway. Even if I did try to get in your way now, it wouldn't change anything. If my aim were to stop what's happening here, I have come 2,000 years too late. Your history is perfect. Your script is complete. While you did not make a mistake with Tristan, your victory is... While you did make a mistake with Tristan, your victory is still close at hand. As one who has stood in this very position, I wanted to applaud you and the path you've taken. In my estimation, neither the Child of Prophecy nor the Master of Chaldea have any hope of defeating you. Though, of course, were a third player who has yet to show themselves to intervene, that could change things considerably.